Hello dear viewers, welcome to today's English class of BD24 online school. Today is the fourth class of tense, and in this class we are going to discuss present perfect, past perfect and future perfect. You know, when we speak, we give a sense of completion. Maybe we have done something in the present, we had done something in the past, or we will have done something in the future. This kind of sense of completion are provided with the structures of present, past and future perfect tenses. So it is very essential for us if we want to communicate to learn present, past and future perfect quite effectively. So let's begin today's class. With present perfect tense. So first of all, let me show you the structure of affirmative sentence. We start affirmative sentence with a subject, and after the subject we use auxiliary verb have or has, and after has we use V3, which is the past participle form of a verb, and finally we give an object. So let me show you an example. Here the example that I have written: the boys, which is the subject of this sentence, and then have an auxiliary verb, then V3 done and object it. So the example is the boys have done it. Let's move on to past perfect tenses affirmative structure. We start affirmative sentence of past perfect similarly with a subject. After the subject we put had, and after had V3 past participle and finally an object. So let me show you an example. First of all, subject I, then had, then V3 lost and object my pen. So the example is I had lost my pen. And the affirmative sentence of future perfect, we start with a subject and after the subject will have. After the subject will have and then V3 past participle form of a verb and finally an object. So let's see the example. Subject they, then will have, V3 joined and object the army. They will have joined the army. So in the affirmative sentences of present, past and future perfect, we start with subject, then auxiliary verb, then V3 and object. So there are some changes, absolutely. In affirmative sentence of present perfect, the auxiliary verb that we use is either have or has. In affirmative sentence of past perfect, we use only had, and in affirmative sentence of future perfect, we use will have. So in present perfect, have or has, in past perfect had, and in future perfect will have. The other things are same: subject V3 object, subject V3 object, subject V3 object. So we'll have to be aware in case of using have or has in present perfect's affirmative, had in past perfect's affirmative, and will have in future perfect's affirmative. Let's move on to negative sentence of present perfect. Similarly, we start with a subject, then auxiliary verb have or has, then a negative word not, followed by V3 and finally an object. Let me give you an example. Subject he has, the negative word not. He has not, V3 eaten, object dinner. He has not eaten dinner. Then the negative sentence of past perfect, subject not have or has, had not, subject had not, then V3 and finally an object. So the example will be subject she, then had not, V3 read, object it. She had not read it. And in negative sentence of future perfect, first of all, subject plus will not have, subject plus will not have plus V3 past participle form, and finally an object. So let me show you the example. Subject I, then will not have, then V3 gone. I will not have gone, object forever. I will not have gone forever. So you see, in negative sentences, subject not V3 object, subject not V3 object, subject not V3 object is everywhere. So the changes are here in auxiliary verb. In the negative sentence of present perfect, we use have or has. In negative sentence of past perfect, we use had, and in negative sentence of future perfect, we use will not have. The other things are almost the same. And finally come to the interrogative sentences of present perfect tense. We begin interrogative sentence with auxiliary verb either have or has. After have or has, we use the subject, and after subject, V3 past participle of a verb, and finally an object. So let me give you an example. An auxiliary verb have, then subject we. Have we, then V3 finished. Have we finished the auxiliary verb? The object, the job. Have we finished the job? Interrogative sentence of past perfect, we begin with had, then a subject, then V3, and finally an object. So let's see the example. First of all, had, then subject you. Had you, V3, visited. Had you visited, object, the place. Had you visited the place? And finally, the interrogative sentence of future perfect, we begin with will. After will, we put the subject, and then have, and then V3, and finally the object. So let me show you the example. First of all, will, then subject you. Will you, then have. Will you have, V3, supported. Will you have supported, object, the team. Will you have supported the team? So you have seen that the interrogative forms of present, past and future are quite similar, though there are some changes, and the changes are there. Similar with affirmative and negative sentences, in interrogative sentence of present perfect, we use have or has as auxiliary verb, then subject V3 object. In interrogative sentence of past perfect, similar to affirmative and negative, we use had, then subject V3 object, and in interrogative sentence of future perfect, we use will, similar to affirmative and negative sentences. And the other things are same: subject V3 object, subject V3 object, subject V3 object. So I have shown you some changes that occur when we transform our sentences from present to past perfect, from past perfect to future perfect. If you can remember those minor changes, you'll be able to use present perfect, past perfect and future perfect quite easily in your day-to-day communication, as we use a lot of sentences to make the listeners understand a sense of completion. These structures are very much essential for us. So thank you for staying with me. Allah Hafiz.